Chapter 2. Okay, like I said, the Chapter 2 is most difficult part because it involves three parties within one broker company, which is the customer, broker we call agent, and the salesperson we call sub-agent. And it also involve two broker companies to work together most likely. One represent the buyer, the other side represent the seller. So there's two companies, 6 persons involved, and okay, it's the same thing in the state exam. It can be most difficult part of the real estate license exam. Okay, now we'll start it. Okay, 2.1, we'll talk about agency, and it involves so-called fiduciary responsibility. And then we're gonna talk about creation of the agency and the authority, termination, or your liability being an agent. And section 2.2 is a brokerage. Brokerage referring to the broker company, the whole system, etc. And 2.3, last part, for sure, we talk about listing and buyer's responsibility. And before we started, we just quick go over chapter 1, the real property, which on the earth, you own a piece of land, you build a home, tree, river, water, and the cloud. Even the cloud can be your personal property. So we have ownership of air right, surface right, and subsurface right. Okay, now we're going to start chapter 2, the agent and the brokerage. We're first using the graphic to Damon. Okay, broker in the state exam we call agent. Okay, although in the real life we always say the salesperson, we say, oh, he or she is my agent, but be careful in the state exam. When we talk about the agent, which equal to the broker, and 90% in the state exam, they talk about the broker. Okay, broker represent his client, we call on behalf. An agent work on behalf of his client, which is the customer. Then in the contract, the customer will become your principal. Okay. So within the you represent the buyer, we call selling agent, and there's a salesperson who work for this broker. Normally we call sub-agent or salesperson. Okay, from the seller side, we call listing agent, another broker, or we call associate, co-op brokers for the seller side agent. Okay, on the left-hand side of this red line, normally it's between, we using MLS system. MLS is multiple listing service. You can refer it as a website, All the salesperson or the broker, they log into the MLS to find out the listing property. Okay, so we divided by this red line on the left-hand side. Basically, we call sub-agent. Okay, why? The principle is only the agent who can work directly with his or her customer, okay, and get the commission directly. In other words, the salesperson, all the money has to go through the broker. Okay, the customer cannot just give the commission, even the bonus check, directly to the salesperson. Okay. So that's why we call salesperson sub-agent. What does that mean? That means the salesperson who works on behalf of his broker's customer, not his. Okay, remember that. It always in the state exam. Everything, okay, everything has to go through the broker. Everything belongs to the broker. All the responsibility or the legal rights belong or liable of the brokers. Okay. The same thing on the listing agent. It's kind of the sub-agent. Sub-agent means you cannot go over this red line to do business directly with the customer. You cannot bypass this broker. Okay. All right. If you understand this picture, then I would say you will be in pretty good shape for the state exam. So let's look at further. Fiduciary duty, okay, for the broker, like I said, everything belongs to the broker. Okay, listing or customer, it belongs to the broker. Okay, all the transaction belong to the broker. Okay, all the commission, any sort of money or referral fee, it belongs to the broker. Lawsuits, it's belong to the broker too. Liability, like a broker has to open a trust account for the property management, etc. For sure, it belongs to the broker, or it has to go through the broker. Okay, on the other side, the brokerage system. A broker who opened a brokerage, he can run for any number of branches. Okay, within each of the branches, he can have any number of the sales. That's for sure. Okay, and each of the broker who can has, any number of the we call co-op brokers. Maybe like a listing brokerage or any other broker company. They can work together for commission. Okay, also they can have, as many as they want for the affiliates, such as inspection company, whatever. And they can have a lot of referrals. Any number of referrals, they can receive the referrals. Not only like an inspection company, they can have referral for out-of-state brokers. Normally, for example, you work in California, and then one of your customers move into New York. They want to buy some property in New York. There's no way you go over New York to get a license and to service them. So most of the cases is that you work with a co-op broker in New York, or you just we call referral. You work with a New York brokerage company, and they will give you referral, not a commission splitting, but normally two brokers will sign up a referral. That's the way you work on United States. Okay, let's go further. Okay, agency. Now you should be able to read it much easier. What does agent means? Okay, a person who authorized to act on behalf of another, which would be the principal. Okay, your customer. Once they authorize or sign the contract, then your customer become client, we call principal. In California, we have Department of Real Estate. In Nevada, we have Nevada Real Estate Department called NARE. And then you need to understand what is licensee, principal. Normally licensee refers the salesperson who has the license. And when we say somebody has license, the license is issued based on the broker company. It's not issued to the personal salesperson. It issued according to the broker company. Okay. So in other words, we always say, my license will hang over a Coldwell Banker, FirstRealty company, etc. Okay. Principal, once your customers, they hire you, they authorize your agency responsibility, then the customer become broker. Then you need to understand the listing, and this listing agent, okay, represent the seller, and selling agent represent the buyer. Sometimes it's confusing. Okay. All right, then most popular we call listing agreement, okay, or we just say listing. When somebody has a property to sell, then we'll put it on MLS. Then we say we have a listing. Broker, then. Broker is an agent, okay? Salesperson is a sub-agent. Okay, who can be broker? If you ask yourself, can you represent the client and do the transaction directly? Okay, the directly means you can sign contract with them, you can get commission with them without going over other broker company. Then you are agent. In other words, then you are broker. But anyway, broker normally represent agent, represent a company. Okay. Okay, then broker company would be, the agent would be like a listing agent, buyer agent, single agent, dual agent, universal agent, general agent, or special agent. Okay, on the next, we'll talk about those in details. Okay, and also broker means assign different licensee, in particular case like a dual agent. Okay, we'll talk about that later too. Now let's. Okay, exam question. Agent means, okay, on behalf of somebody. But be careful to using this word. Just a reminder. if you have an assistant job or whatever in a company, it doesn't necessarily to be a broker company. Sometimes you help your manager or you help your boss to answer the email or write a letter or whatever. Okay, be careful to using this word. On behalf of then means that you have authority, you have responsibility. Okay, it's much different than sometimes we write later. I answer this phone or write this letter for John, for my manager. That's only an answer, a writing. It doesn't mean the company authorized. So that's a lot different. Okay, and another state exam question would be, agent can be principal and agent for sure. Principal is your customer. Client and agent, yeah, that's for sure. Broker and the salesperson, or broker and agent, sure, they have a relationship like an agency. Principal, okay, somebody who give you the authority, okay, or somebody to hire you. Okay, so authority is important. We will further discuss about the authorization in the later of the chapter. Okay. Next, broker's business. First, of course, buy and sell, doing the transaction, lease, rental, file application for your customer, solicit lender or the borrower, solicit listing or the buyer for sure, that's every day. And then buy and sell, exchange, no matter it's a real property or leasing property, and the promised note. Chapter 6, when we're talking about the loan, mortgage loan in California, we'll further talk about the promissory note. In short, promissory note, for a very simple word, is something like I owe you. Okay, I owe you 100,000. That's a mortgage term called promissory note. We'll first talk about that on the chapter 6. Okay, collect advance fee. Broker's business or fiduciary duty is already involved about the money management. Okay, advance fee, one of the trust account. The money in the trust account is another. It's always so important in the state exam. By the way, in California, a broker can do property management. A broker can do a little bit related to the mortgage or the promissory note, buy and sell. But in most of the other states, for example, in Nevada, okay, a broker, you cannot do the loan stuff. Okay, a broker, you cannot simply do in property management. You cannot do like a business, buy and sell for the business. You need to get additional certificate. But in California, salesperson, you can directly do the property management. Okay, next, broker's fiduciary duty. Commission, listing and contract, lawsuit, Okay, financial responsibility like a trust account, management, brokerage management, property management, anything, and last the transaction and the supervision. That was also important. Okay, salesperson training and supervision is always broker's responsibility. Okay, next, before we go any further, I would like to use in another artificial intelligence to talk about a little bit, a short, to define what's the agency about. See.
This is FirstRealtySchools AI instructor, Jenny. Today, we are going to talk about the Chapter 2 agency. Agencies are created by ratification agreement or estoppel. Licensee is an agent of the broker who passed the state exam and imply a current status of real estate license. The buyer or seller gives the right to represent him or her to sell real property. This is called authorization, which is a legal representation of your client. Licensee is the employee of the broker by personal employment agreement, but be aware that the IRS considers them as independent contractor. Also, the IRS accepts you as an independent contractor only if your annual income has at least 90% earned by the commission. I'd like to remind you that commission cannot be hourly pay. It must be your real estate sales commission. Thank you very much, and I hope you will get a clear picture of agency now. FirstRealtySchools AI instructor, Jenny.
Okay, that was a short demo of the agency. Okay, let's go next. We'll talk a lot more in detail. All right, sub-agent, okay, in short, is salesperson, most likely. So if you were sub-agent, you cannot doing the business directly with your client without going through your broker or bypass your brokers. Okay. And the cooperative broker under the MLS listing services, two broker companies work together. Okay, the other side of the broker will be called co-op brokers. Okay, and last thing, when we say there's a two agents, it's a whole lot different than a dual agent. Okay, dual agent means within one broker company, I have the listing and I have the buyer under the same broker company. The two agents represent one principal. That's another story. Okay. Normally, it happens on the commercial property. In the commercial property, it's more complicated. So most likely, it will involve a lot of time. It involved two salesperson. They work together with another. It can be like an attorney or accountants, whatsoever. So a lot of time is a group of people work together for one particular customer. So remember, two agent is different from the dual agent. Okay, quick hint. Agency was governed by the common law and or statute law. The common law means the court order, the history of the court decision. Okay, statute means something like a national law or federal law, normally from the Constitution. And then we need to understand in California, we are common law state. Okay, Nevada or some other state was different. They have statute they call Nevada Revised Statute or Administrative Code. The state government write particular code or the statute for the real estate business. So in California, we call common law. Pretty much is based on the court orders. We need to study the history of the court orders. We will have at least two examples in the future, later of the chapters. Okay, the seller's commission. Okay, put like in MLS, or you put one of the sign, or two, the
public servants? Are you public employees? Are you public employees? What's your name? I'm just gonna step out here real quick. All right, cool. Oh no, this isn't a weapon, sir. I'm just gonna back away from you if you feel unsafe. This is my dwelling. I actually live here. I'm just gonna step around you guys like this. All right, excuse me, deputy. I'm just gonna come around you. Excuse me, sir. Thank you, Westall. Oh, this is my home. I live here.
So what's going on with you and your dad?
You a public servant, sir? Are you a public servant? Are you a public employee?
Have you ever been treated for mental illness?
Sir, are you a public servant?
Have you ever taken any sex?
Sir, are you a public servant? Are you going to identify yourself to me?
Have you ever been hospitalized?
Do you have 3 forms of identification? I need to see your badge, the business card, and photo identification if you'd like to contract with me, sir. I do not believe that I have a contract with you, and I'm obligated to answer any of your questions. If you'd like to contract with me, we can do so. If you provide me 3 forms of ID, I'd love it. Is that what you're trying to do with me, sir? Are you trying to contract with me? I don't know. What are you trying to do with me, sir? Are you operating as a public official right now? Are you a public servant? I'm asking you a direct question, yes or no? The master asks the questions and the servant answers them. Would that be correct? No. The master asks the questions and the servant answers them. I don't work for you, sir. I don't answer your questions, Sergeant. You answer mine. So I'm asking you a question. Are you a public servant? You are. You are a public servant, aren't you? I actually have a contract with you. And your principal, which would be the sergeant or the sheriff, who is a public employee and publicly elected official of the County of Los Angeles. The people, collectively, citizens, elected him to represent us to keep the peace. So he has delegated his authority to each one of you individuals, I'm assuming, who are operating in official capacity as a legal entity of which I'm not obligated to contract with unless I choose to do so. And I don't choose to do so, sir. So, unless you have 3 forms of ID right now, I don't even believe that you're in your uniform. Okay? And honestly, I'm feeling really threatened right now. I would appreciate it if you'd step away from me because I see 3 or 4 armed people with armed and deadly weapons, and I feel threatened. So would you please just back away from me because I'm at my dwellings. This is my house. I live here. Okay? So would you please just back up, Sergeant? Nope. Well, I feel threatened right now, and you're actually armed with deadly weapons, so this is aggravated, everything you're doing right now. Because this is actually intimidation. You're attempting to intimidate me from exercising my constitutionally protected rights. Which would be a violation of what? You guys know? Title 18, you want to read it to you? Okay, cool. That would be a title, a violation of Title 18 of the United States Court of Law, or United States Code of Law. Okay? Title 18, Chapter 13, subsection 241, 242. Right here. Part 1. Chapter 13, subsection 241, United States Code of Law. If 2 or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, intimidate any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, or possession, or district in the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to it by the Constitution or the laws of the United States, or having so exercised them, if 2 or more persons go in disguise on a highway or the premises of another, which is what it really seems to me like what you guys are doing right now. You're on the premises of another, acting under a color of law. Does anyone know what color of law is? Anyone? Sergeant, I know you do. Come on. What's color of law? Color of authority? You guys want to know what color of law is? Color of law is where you're in an official uniform right now. You're acting as a public employee. You're wearing a uniform of the state, acting with the authority of the state. And therefore, when you breach your duty as a public official, now your bonds become up for grabs for people like me to go and file claims against you in the county. I go and get your badge numbers, and I go and I write a claim against the county. And I say that, hey, this public employee came to my house with a gun, and they intimidated me. From exercising, I'm told you right now, I feel intimidated. There's 4 armed men and women who refuse to produce 3 forms of ID upon my request. What, 3 times now? Are you guys public servants or public employees? You won't even identify yourselves? I don't care if you're wearing a badge and a uniform. I can go get a fucking costume and wear the same shit and walk around with a gun. Oh my god, I got a shiny medallion and a gun. So what? It doesn't mean anything. You have to have 3 forms of ID. The Supreme Court said that, right? Here we go. Shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both.
Okay, this video, I consider it was perfect study material. It using all the legal term exactly the same as our agency. In the later next page, we'll talk about the authorization. This lawyer asking for the authorization is the same as our agency relationship. You need to have authorization. Anything you fail to do it, we call color. Okay, color of authorization means you did not get the permission, you did not get the authorization. And later chapter we talk about the title. When your real property title has some defects, we also call color of the title. Okay, the contract is the same. Okay, we're gonna go next. Okay, now let's back to the fiduciary duties. In short, because code, C-O-A-L-D, C is care, obedience, accounting, loyalty, and the last part is most important part, we call disclosure. Again, I'd like to remind you, whenever we say disclosure means agency responsibility to inform all the relevant material facts. And for state exam, which means it has to be in writing, okay, get a signature. Okay, first, when we say your duty of cares, means you need to provide your reasonable care and skill. Okay, what is our skill? A salesperson's skill is doing you find a buyer, you get the listing, you're doing the negotiation of the offer between buyer and seller side. You prepare all those offer, all those services until the offer was accepted by the seller. Okay, then we call meeting of the mind. Or in other words, after that we call open escrow. So the contract is formed, the transaction contract is formed, then we enter, we send it over to the title escrow company. Okay, after that, it's not our skill. Okay, anything after open escrow, MMM, no matter the inspection, surveying, title, escrow stuff, mortgage stuff, all those stuff is not our licensed skill. Okay, we are not professional on those fields. Of course, if you involve in that, you will be sort of saying illegal. People can sue you for that. Okay, the second I like to mention about is we call implied due agents. Okay, another word for due agent is called in-house sale. Okay. For example, if my company, I get a listing, and then anyone who contact me regarding my brokerage listing, then if I accept it, then I become due agents. Okay. And due agent in the national law is illegal. Okay. However, in most of the states, including California, we can be due agents. However, you have to disclose your due agent status. Okay, we'll talk about that later. And now, why is caused by carelessness? Okay, for example, I have a listing, and then Patrick called me, say, "Hey, Mr. Wang, I like your listing over at Arcadia, the $1 million house over at Arcadia." I say, "Oh, Patrick, that's good. Yes, I had that. You got the right person. You know, let's make an offer." Okay. And then Patrick accepted. Then Patrick tried. Started writing an offer up to now. Okay, if from your state exam up to now, Mr. Wang is illegally doing as a due agent. Why? Okay, first, when Patrick called me, I have to tell Patrick, well, first, I represent the listing, the seller listing of the sellers. I'm not represent you as a buyer, okay? That's the first thing. And then I have to ask you to sign the paper. If you agree to accept me as your due agent, but I'm not representing you, okay? That's called due agent. Then I'm legal in California, because I do my disclosure to my customer, Patrick. Okay, that was very important in real life and the state exam. Okay, almost every time they will ask him some sort of like that question like that. Okay, obedient is easy. Okay, obedient is just according to the contract. Okay, everything we do according to the contract. We are not obedient your customer. Okay. And third, accounting. Accounting was also very, very important in any kind of license exam, no matter mortgage or general contractor or insurance license or real estate license. Okay, there's two terms you have to understand, distinguish. The first one we call commingle. The second one we call conversion. Okay, commingle means you mix your customer, your principal's money with like a broker company's checking account, or we call commingle. Okay. However, commingle does another even serious in the state exam. You might lose your license, which is you mix principal's money with your personal checking account. With company account, it's illegal too, but okay, the penalty is not as much as you mix with your personal account. Remember that it also will be in the state exam question. If you mix with your personal account, you may lose your license. Okay, conversion is another term very important in the accounting fiduciary duties. Conversion simply, I'll give you one example. Okay. When customer give you, let's say, 10 $100 bill, each bill that has numbers, and then when we open escrow, you have to give the 10 particular number of $100 bill to the escrow company, okay, deposit to the trust account. If any number was different, then that's conversion. Okay, in short, it has to be exactly the same number, okay, of the bill. You cannot change any one of it. Okay, that's conversion and commingle, very important in the state exam. Okay, next, loyalty. Loyalty, it can be difficult because it refers to the confidentiality. In other words, we always say that confidential, some of the confidential information. However, there's two major difference of the confidential. The first one probably easier. Okay, it's just like you applying for the credit card or you applying to get a mortgage loan. Some of the personal information, however, it was required. It's legally they will ask for, like your credit history, your income, okay, etc. It's the same thing for our agency. Okay, when at your work, you get close to the buyer, and you have to provide all those information to the seller, because the seller has the right to choose whichever has better better incomes, better credit history. It's the same thing like when you're doing the property management. Okay, it's the same thing like you stand on the lender's side to choose to qualify for the borrower. It's almost exactly the same. However, on the other side, from the seller's side, okay, be careful. It's also the most difficult part of the state exam. If the seller tell you that I lost my job, okay, or I go to casino, I lost, $300,000. Now I have to sell my $1 million house in Arcadia for as long as $600,000. I will accept anything, over $600,000. So this type of question, no matter real life or the state exam, be careful. All right. Again, it comes to this word, disclosure. What does disclosure means? Okay, based on the loyalty confidential, that's the seller's confidential. Okay, being as a salesperson or the broker agent, you cannot tell anybody. Okay, it's illegal. That's seller's confidential financial ability or financial difficulty. Remember that, okay? That's two different sides, two different situations. Okay, last part, disclosure. All the relevant information or so-called material fact, okay, you must be disclosed. It must be disclosed. You should disclose it, okay? And no matter the customer asks for it or not, you have to disclose it. Okay, material facts. We need to talk about puffing, misrepresentation, and fraud. Okay, puffing is just exaggeration of the property's benefit. It's say, oh, this house is the most beautiful one, okay, in Arcadia, something like that. It's puffing. Normally, in English, we always say one of the best or the most. It should be okay, puffing. Okay. However, those two is very important. Okay, misrepresentation and fraud. Okay, misrepresentation is unintentional. Okay, you're doing something unintentional. Okay, you give the wrong material or misstatement of the fact. For example, this beautiful house equipped with 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. Okay. However, it is 3 bedrooms, but it's 1.5 baths, or it is 1 3/4 of the bathroom. Okay, that's unintentional misstatement of the fact. Okay, it's your mistake. However, it's not fraud. Okay, fraud will be a conviction. Okay, it's not just some penalty from the Department of Real Estate. Okay. Okay, so fraud is intentional misrepresentation, okay, of the material fact. Okay, fraud, it happens a lot of time. Even sometimes the agent is helping his buyer to prepare some, I would say like a false document of the marketing price, okay, in order to help the buyer to get approval from the lender, from the bank. So if you're doing something not correct, you prepare some material that's not true, then that's illegal. Okay, CARES. In Nevada, there's an official document we call duty owed. Okay, that's a licensee, primary standard form of the liability responsibility. In California, we have another word we call due diligence, which is important. It can refer to broker's responsibility. Okay. And it can be, when you talk to the buyer, it can be the buyer's due diligence, which means, for example, the buyer should do their inspection due diligently. Okay, why? Because it will protect the buyer. After they're doing the inspection, they can rescind the contract if they find something wrong. So that's buyer's protection. Okay, throughout the whole chapter, okay, the whole license program, everything was for the buyer's protection. Okay, we don't really asking anything of the buyer's responsibility other than the due diligence. Okay, the other quick hint is for the customer. Remember, we say customer is any person who's contact you or step into the broker company without authorization or the contract yet. Okay. They are your customer. Okay, nowadays the buyer, most of the buyer was customer only because they don't really give you authorization or they don't really sign a contract with you. But seller normally is the principal because they sign a listing agreement with the broker company. Once they sign it, that means they authorize that particular broker as an agent. However, buyer is just a customer. So now we need to talk about the customer's duties. Okay. Although they are only a customer, you still have some duties, okay, responsibilities. First is a faithful, honesty, and you have to disclose all the material facts, okay. Okay, next important exam question that I summarize here: fiduciary duty violation. First, if the zoning was changed, for example, it changed from commercial to residential. Okay, you need to disclose, otherwise it's a misrepresentation. Second, without disclosed buyers, poor credit. Okay, we talked about that earlier. I'll give you another example. It happened most of the time, the buyer would tell you that, oh, I have a bankruptcy from the 2008 when the financial crisis, or I have the credit card, you know, those type of debts that bad credit history, something. I like your listing property so much. However, I'm afraid when we open escrow, my loan being denied. So that means the buyer has poor credit. So the state exam question will ask you, do you need to disclose to the seller? Okay. Yes, this is not confidential. And if you want to ask him why, because same thing like a bank or the lender. The seller has a right to know, to compare, to choose from those buyers, the best credit. Okay, disclose seller financial difficulties or duress, another word. That's a violation of the fiduciary duty. Disclose buyer's intention to sell or flip. Okay, that's a violation of fiduciary duty, of the loyalty. Why? This is a part of something, okay. The buyer's interest. Okay, number 5, disclose seller's lowest sale price. Okay, that's a violation of confidentiality. Okay, you know the seller's listing property, the listing price for $1 million. He will talk to you something like he has a price in mind, like a 950,000 something. Okay, but you should not disclose to the buyer side because that's confidentiality. Okay, next, state exam question. Broker must disclose. Okay, first, inform the seller about the roof leaking, lead-based paint, silence. Okay, silence means you know it. Then you have to disclose to your customer, okay? And the first one about something about roof leaking was always in the state exam. No matter the seller tell you, or you tell the seller, or you guys discuss about the roof leaking, how to fix it. And eventually after open escrow or close of the sale, the roof is still leaking, then that's all your responsibility. Okay, at least in the state exam, it's always like that. And why? Because it's a very simple principle to remember for the state exam question. As long as you know it, then it's your responsibility. Okay, and non-liable to the brokers. We call deferred maintenance. Okay, deferred maintenance, or the damage of the structure invisible to, to normal people. Unless you have special equipment, then that's not our or broker's responsibility. Okay, in exam, everything is agent, broker. Okay. Inaccessible area, for example, the crawling space or the attics, that's not our responsibility, not the broker's responsibility. Inspection, there's an inspector coming to inspection for the leaking or for the roofing structure. Nowadays they can use in the flying drone. Okay, but all those, you need special equipment. That's not our profession, not our responsibility, in short.